This year has been hard for us all. From the missiles and fires at the beginning of the year, through the ham-fisted perpetual newsreel of ego, the lockdown while COVID running rampant, the collapse, the shops, the collapse. Many industries suffered this year, and as film students, we sought the perspective of our peers that are out of education to fill us in on the landscape of things.
I think we should have went into lockdown a bit earlier. We could probably be in a better situation now, probably saved a lot of lives. I've not seen any of the really socially distant shows. I'm actually expecting some films to come out that are like either one person driven or two people in a room and they're like really far away from each other, just so they can keep the social distance. There'll be multiple films that will be really strange or filmed differently just because of the pandemic. There won't be a big crew or cast, so it will just be like, I feel the film industry will go for character-driven films or even like the kind of loner style films.
I'd done a news spoof sketch. I'd done a few of them over the years, and it was just a good exercise to do something. And that was a couple of months into the lockdown. And by that stage, you were seeing things on Twitter and Facebook with people doing stuff, and all of a sudden, everyone seemed to be creative. And I was just feeling horrible, just not having done anything. The new sketch one came together quite well. It was just about Glasgow going insane, slowly going insane during the lockdown, and it was mostly shots of empty streets. But it worked out quite well. It got like 12,000 hits in just over a week, which is huge. It's not viral, but it kind of was in a local sense. We've got a lot of friends who are actors and sound and camera who quite like to do stuff that's a bit more creative. I think the plan is that maybe like once a month we'll go out for a day and see what can we shoot on one Saturday, and we'll just do maybe one or two sketches and put them out there.
I'm currently a performing arts student right now because I wanted to like get into the mindset of an actor when I become a director. So I was doing a play and that got cancelled as like the ratio actually gone up. I was thinking to myself, it's probably not safe to go out there. So I just hated it, honestly. Like, yeah, I didn't get to really finish like my scripts, but developing it was a really fun process for me. When I was stuck in lockdown, in that creative space is just something like I think which was very healthy for me during lockdown because it got really, really bad. This is like the perfect opportunity for creative media people to really step up, because when you were in lockdown, what was like the things that you were doing when you were like alone? You were watching videos, right? Or like going on social media. So it's a good opportunity to just find a way, overcome those restrictions. If you really think outside the box, if you have restrictions, there's really no can't. It's just, how are you just gonna overcome that?
I've been working on quite a few things during lockdown. I've been working on my own projects, been making little films to get me through the boredom of it all, but also been working in the industry as well. I work at a company called Forrester Black, who are still producing things. I mean, the film industry has been relatively unaffected, I think.
A lot of other people I talked to felt like they've been kind of held back by lockdown.
You know, you can't help but feel like you're being held back, and obviously we're being restricted in so many different ways. But also, you know, in terms of the legislation, the law, the restriction that they've put in place, they're being quite lenient on film productions. You can still go out and make films with people. You have to be doing it in a very safe way, and there's loads of things that you have to do in order to make it safe. But if you're on top of it and you understand and know all of that and know how to pull it off, then there's nothing that stops you from making exactly what you want to make. A really good example of this, my friend Gary Beatson, who's writing and directing, and he wanted me to produce a short film. And I think he approached me in February of this year and said, would you be up for producing this? And I said, yes, let's do it. I thought there's something about it that had a sort of beautiful simplicity to it. I thought this will be quite easy to pull off, really. And then obviously the coronavirus pandemic happened. It was all, are we still going to be able to do this? But then I kind of really quickly realised, actually, that's the ideal kind of film you want to make during a pandemic, because you've got a skeleton crew, you've only got 2 or 3 cast members, you're all shooting in one location. It means that you're not having to lug stuff around different locations, and so you can do it in a safe way. Whereas if someone had written a film that required you to travel to different places, that's a lot more difficult. So his film ended up being really easy enough to pull off. So we actually ended up filming that at the beginning of November this year. And so that was something that we planned to shoot in November, and it went ahead. And just as we planned, you know, we thought if COVID's going to get in the way of how we tell the story, then we should put it off and delay it. But it turned out that what we were trying to make was simple enough that we could go ahead with it. I don't see there being restrictions in place for much longer than they need to be. What I do see having a lasting impact, though, are things like people's mental health and the value that the industry puts on people having good mental health. I think that's something that these past few lockdowns that we've had has shone a light on, is that mental health is a lot more pervasive than we think it is. And I think everybody's been vulnerable to it. But now, hopefully it's something that people take more seriously after this. And hopefully also the tone of the kind of things that we make in Scotland changes. There's been this problem of Scottish pessimism for a long time. But hopefully now, with this great need to cheer each other up that's come around now, that we actually end up making things that will inspire us. At the end of the day, it's about the stories that we're trying to tell, and if those are being compromised, then it's not worth it.